We are continuing our program with the panel discussion titled Unlocking Business Opportunities with Generative AI and Large Language Models. This panel will explore the transformative potential of advanced AI technologies in driving innovation and gaining a competitive edge. You will discover how these cutting-edge technologies are revolutionizing industries and reshaping the future of business. And you will also explore the potential of AI-driven personalization and customization. The moderator of this panel is Sanda Martinčić-Ipšić, a full professor at the Faculty of Informatics and Digital Technologies at the University of Rijeka. I will leave the stage now, and I will let Sanda take over.
Thank you. So today we are going to have a really great panel since we are having really nice panelists. First of them is Dr. Valentina Zadrija. She's a tech lead with over 18 years of experience in the field of AI with application in robotics, autonomous driving, and embodied AI in general. She currently serves as the tech lead at YAC, where she's developing foundation models for embodied AI, focusing the safety, validation, and alignment of AI models with human values. Before that, she was at Gideon, where she led teams in developing autonomous mobile forklifts, and she was a machine learning engineer at Rimac, developing AI models for self-driving. She holds a PhD in artificial intelligence, and her research interests include large multimodal models, generative AI, generative modeling, and 3D vision in general. The second panelist is Mr. Petar Babic, sitting on my right. He's a program manager at A1 Croatia. Originally, he is a data scientist, but has a rich history of devising data-driven solutions that tackle marketing challenges and boost business performance. More recently, he has taken the lead on the data-driven engagement and experience program, which is an initiative that fosters the culture of continuous experimentation to fuel advancement in digital marketing and enhance customer experience personalization. And the third, but not the last, is Davor Anicic, who has a long-lasting experience as a CEO of the Velebit AI, which is also partnering company of the conference. And he's actually spreading the company's efforts in providing customized solutions since 2019, with hands-on experience in AI implementation in both computer vision and natural language processing across various business sectors. Davor's entrepreneurial journey spans corporate, academic, and startup environment, which makes him as a unique expert in the field. And he has also a lot of expertise in business and software development. He specializes in driving innovation and translating cutting-edge technologies into user-centric products, making him a respected leader and speaker, also excellent speaker in the field. So good day, everyone. I would like to start with some questions prepared in advance, and at the end we will also give you time to ask the questions. Last 5 minutes of the panel will be open for the questions from the audience. So I would like to start with one general one, where we will also have the opportunity to learn about our speakers. So the question is for all of you. Can you share examples from the projects or your own experience where generative AI has transformed your business or your industry? So please, Valentina, start as the first.
I think that people have realized that large language models are no longer just language models. They have enormous potential. As Karpati said, they could be viewed as operating systems, for instance. So what's so great about them? I'm not going to talk about finance. I'm not going to talk about marketing. I think that other panelists know better these topics. But for instance, what I really find fascinating, I think that Microsoft a few days ago released an Aurora model. It's a model for weather forecasting. So in less than a minute, it can forecast weather for the next 10 days. And for instance, it can also predict pollution for a few days ahead. So I think that the underlying concept of generative AI, it's not only language. We need to model also other problems which are important for us, like for us as a humanity. So another interesting application that I would like to say, for instance, this is what I do every day for life, is I'm developing large multimodal models for robotic learning. So for instance, I want to learn how the robot should drive in the environment, whether that's a warehouse, whether that's a public road, whether that's a field, in general, robotic learning, and to do it like in a really safe way, because when you have embodied AI in public spaces, then safety is your #1 priority. So I think that that's a really, really exciting topic. I think that there are no like pre-trained models off the shelf that we could use and fine-tune, so we are developing everything from the scratch. And I don't think that many people do this because it's compute very intensive. And I think it's very, very important also safety-wise. And finally, like the thing, me personally, as an engineer, I don't like writing documentation. So I'm using Copilot and I'm using Codion exhaustively to generate README files and documentation. So that's it for me.
So can we switch to Petar?
Okay, so to give you my background, I'm coming from marketing within telecom industry. For us, it's all about the customer data and how we use this data in interactions with customers. I have two examples. So first example, customer feedback. With new technology, we have new possibilities of getting feedback from our customers. Traditionally, it was done manually. Our telesales agents were writing down notes within CRM systems, and you can imagine it was prone to errors. It was a matter of subjectivity of each agent, what he thinks that what is most important that he should know down. Now this is being changed, so new technologies are giving us possibility to compare the results that agents are doing, noting down with classifications done with AI. Currently, we are doing this after conversations, after call is being done, and we are comparing how precise are agents in noting down these feedbacks. In the future, idea is that we completely automate this process and that we have it in real time. Besides these conversations, telephone conversations, we are also doing classifications of emails and insights derived from emails and doing email routing. So each email is sent to a team within the company who is then much faster to give answer to customers. A new solution in plan for development this year is to provide the drafts of email. So job for agents will be much easier in the future. He will have to proofread the draft of email and then enter some personal information, click send, and answer will be on a way towards the customer. Besides this, we're using chatbot for the last 2 years within our mobile app. And this is one example. So collecting customer feedback with these solutions, we are, it will be much easier to hear customers and across all our touch points and to use this information with more context in our interactions with customers. Second example, it is generating content for direct marketing. So creating tailor-made personalized messages. I can give you example. For example, we are in telecom, we have ton of information data about our customers. We can create personas of these customers, asking ChatGPT to be this persona and then ask him for recommendations from this perspective. And and this is gonna revolutionize how we communicate to customers. What I want to say here is also this topic of content creation. This whole process is being revolutionized because of this Gen AI technology. Currently, it is done through marketing agencies. In the future, some parts of it will be done internally, but also marketing agencies are going to change. They're going to be much more effective. So definitely, it will do the revolution regarding cost optimization. I was part of the panel last week. It was what was the name? It is with Crow AI Association. I think it was Marketing Club last week. One of the panelists from marketing agency brought the topic of marketing agencies in the future. Are they even going to exist in the environment that they're existing right now? So there is a lot of interesting things happening within the industry.
Okay, Davor, what's your opinion of where generative AI can transform business? What are your examples?
Yeah, so generative AI is already transforming businesses. First, we have to think what it enables. So this technology enables new things, enables new, better data summarization, storage, and retrieval. So in a way, wherever you have a lot of data, then you can use this. Of course, it's not retrieval of data without loss, but for analyzing thousands or hundreds of thousands of emails, it really brings out information you couldn't reach otherwise for a reasonable amount, I would say, of effort. Before you could do it with some older methods, but it was quite costly to implement. Also on generative part, creative industries are, in my opinion, will be completely overhauled. I don't say is it good or bad, we'll see the results. We'll see what audience accepts, but for all the commercial part of creative-like agencies, definitely they already now do use a lot of generative AI for prototyping ideas, because it's always the idea of a client. You have to put in some kind of creative idea, and you have to produce 10 concepts in like 2 days, and then this is a tool that helps. Of course, generative AI can produce any model, so it's not only language. We are talking about LLMs, large language models, but it's large multimodal models now. So I'm quite sure that from the next Eurovision onwards, we will never be sure who actually wrote the song. Is it human or is it AI? And this is also one thing I want to emphasize. Whoever runs the company should be aware that your employees are already using AI, even if you don't know. So you should be aware of the risks and of the benefits. So even without any implementation, I'm quite sure that many of us are already using any co-writing, at least to improve our language skills in foreign language, or anything else is already being used heavily. Yeah.
So multimodal is going to be one of the hottest topic in the next period, I think. But we do have some concerns also regarding the safety. So in the light of, Valentina, in the light of recent advancement, what are the most pressing security challenges to these technologies, especially when we deploy a real world application? So can you maybe discuss potential strategies also for mitigating these risks?
Yeah, I think that safety is going to be the most important topic for the large multimodal models, especially when we're talking about deploying them in the real world so that they coexist in public spaces with humans. So in our smart homes and, as I said, in warehouses, fields, like anywhere. So when we think, so where are the large language models now? So basically what a large language model can do from the safety side now, it can insult you. It can maybe coerce you to phishing, like you will get a link and you can click on a link and maybe it can steal your credentials to something. Basically, that's it. But I would say that this is nothing new. Like, we had phishing before, I mean. So why should we care about security at all? I mean, but I think, so let's say that you have a large multimodal model and that it interfaces with your home. And so it detects that you're out of toothpaste. And so in a normal setting, you would expect it to log into any kind of web shop and order you some toothpaste. So, but what if instead of ordering a toothpaste, it logins into your bank account, transfers the funds somewhere else, and deletes everything from the logs? So this is why I think that we should really take safety seriously now, especially if we are considering expanding the power of these models into the real world. So, so when we think about the causes, I think everything starts with the data. Like, for instance, everyone is using retrieval augmented generation now. So you use search engines and you retrieve documents. And when you expose your model to the internet data, you open your model to various kinds of attack vectors, whether that be data poisoning, backdoor attacks, or anything like it. And when you consider, like, how are these models trained nowadays? So it's a classic. You have pre-training, large amounts of data, very large amounts of GPU. And then in this pre-training phase, you want the model to be really helpful, to be creative, to craft you interesting content for marketing purposes, to craft emails. So basically, this is your goal in the pre-training phase. And you're not much concerned, at least the procedure now as is not much concerned with safety in that pre-training phase. And then in the second phase comes safety alignment, so red teaming, reinforcement learning with human feedback. And in that phase, you start training model to be harmless and to be honest. And these are somewhat conflicting goals. And when you think about it, also when you're raising a child, so my daughter comes to me and asks me, okay, can I play Minecraft? And I say, no, you need to finish your homework first. And then she comes to my husband and she asks him the same question, and he says, it's okay to play Minecraft. So basically, even the child will start misbehaving. So I think that the whole nature, how the process is structured, these conflicting goals, and research has backed up this hypothesis, is the reason why do we get all these jailbreak attacks and stuff like that. So I think in the future, we'll need to take really careful steps, and maybe it's not enough to do reinforcement learning with human feedback if we want AI in public spaces. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Petar, these questions is also related. How can a company mitigate the risk associated with the use of generative AI? For instance, in marketing, considering the factual inaccuracies or hallucination, biases, prompt injection, data privacy, problems like that.
There is a famous case, it happened this year. Airliner had to pay commission to a customer because of hallucination of a chatbot on their website. So it is very interesting. How we deal with it, the system that we are using for generating chatbots is letting us mitigate this risk. So we simply can manage the level of hallucination and reduce this hallucination level to bare minimum. And this way you get a little bit less creativity, but all the answers are more prone towards the data that's been given and trained on. Then there is a question of data privacy. Data privacy, again, the platform that we are using is not open platform, publicly available. It is our special subscription on this service, and all the data that we ingest in this platform stays within our subscription. It is not being used openly, publicly to retrain the model. So all personal information is not available to others using the same platform. Then again, current versions of chatbot that are on our solution, they're on premise. So solution that is end-to-end our, and why it is the case, because of the sensitive private information that we must not put even in the cloud by creation law. In the future, how technology is being developed, we'll have to do something. Even now we have plans to enable and integrate current version of chatbot with ChatGPT. But before that, we will have to anonymize the data and then send it to cloud. Second part of the question, I think it was about the prompt injections.
Yeah.
Yeah, when using LLM models, it's simply the risk you have to take. The only way to reduce the risk of prompt injections is not using LLMs. So, but there are mechanisms. So you can analyze the inputs that customer is giving to detect any suspicious words or forbidden words. You can implement LLM systems that are analyzing these inputs and analyzing, classifying if they're malicious inputs, or you can have separate LLM system that is analyzing the answer, and if the answer is unwanted, you can simply not give this answer towards the customer.
But definitely you have to pay attention.
Definitely.
Definitely. Davor, next one is to you. What do you think, what are the first steps that the business, we know big companies are already taking the steps, but for the smaller one, this might seem like a lot of cost, and I would like you to address what should be the first steps that business should consider when started to think about the adoption of LLM technologies in their business. How should companies start to think about this integration, and how they should take, which approach should they take?
So from our experience as an AI agency for now more than several years, I would say it's first that you have to be aware of what you are dealing with. So you have to learn internally about the technology. So you have to develop internal know-how to the certain level, even if you want to use outside providers, on what AI brings and what are the risks about the data. Then don't go for the risky use cases. So don't face things towards the clients. Go for internal knowledge. If you have rich internal knowledge that brings you value, do such implementations that stay inside. This is, of course, the advantage of the big companies, because they have much more value in the internal knowledge. For the small companies, they have another advantage. They can access knowledge from the outside, and now, let's say, they can crawl competition and then gather this knowledge, and then fastly search and retrieve useful information through LLMs or other AI methods. So I would say there are a lot of opportunities, but what our experience is that it's not technology that is hampering this like fast adoption. It's the lack of some kind of internal champion that thinks about it all the time and then says, okay, now we can do this, because maybe 6 months ago it was too early. But now, if you get someone who will follow technology and preach internally about it and have such a person, then your adaptation or your acquiring of this new technology will be much faster. So we always tell to potential clients, and clients get someone who will be here also with us and discussing, and internally be without such person. It's usually just big ideas and then big disappointment and then nothing.
Thank you. Next one is to you, Valentina. We have seen a lot of models learn to text, but you do have experience in multimodal learning, which is not that common. So I would like you to answer what are the challenges actually when you're deploying multimodal models.
Yeah, with multimodal models, you have all these different, as they call, modalities. So on one hand, you have text, on other hand, you have sound, you have images, and you can also have control, like what is the amount of gas, brake, what's the steering angle when you're driving a car, how much did the forklift lift the pallet, and stuff like that. So basically, you need to get all these modalities to talk to each other. And for instance, if the car is giving if the car is stopping at the intersection, then this information that the car is braking needs also be connected with the red light on the traffic light. So basically, you need to connect all these input modalities. So this is one thing that it's a challenge. Then you might also have different objective functions. And anyone who has trained neural networks, when you have multiple objectives, sometimes they can compete with each other. And then you need to do all the clever things to stabilize training and have it so that it can converge so the model is useful, and that's what actually you want to do. So I think that in general, when we think about large language models, and not just, all large language models are multimodal now. So I think what people might find interesting here, also Petar and Davor, I think that many of the research and challenges when considering large language models goes into the fact that when you take a pre-trained model, it's really big, and now you want to fine-tune it. And you don't have, you're not an OpenAI, you're not Microsoft, you don't have a bunch of GPUs. So basically, you need to do it in a parameter-efficient way. So there's a bunch of techniques that are allowing you to fine-tune the model, for instance, like LoRa and many derivatives of LoRa, which actually allow you to compress the model parameters so you can do training. I think that one thing that people also do is quantization, so that you reduce the representation, for instance, to a lower number of bits, so that the model can fit you in your, 4090 or 3090, whatever you have at home, so that you can also train on that. So I think that these are the things that a lot of research is also going into, and I think that every week you get a new paper with a new version of LoRa which tells you how can you train the model more efficiently. I don't know, guys, if you have anything to add here from your experiences also, training models.
Yeah, you also train models, but I agree it's hard to do it locally on local hardware, so you have to use such techniques, or to use some smaller models that are then applicable still to the use case that we have. Yeah. 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 It is a problem for a small company.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Now I would like to take a little bit look into the future, which is really an ungrateful position, but it's opportunity to do so. So what do you, now we do see some emerging trends that are pushing the reasoning capabilities in large language models, and also the widening of the input context. What do you think, where are we going with this? What are predictions maybe for the next several years with this advancement? Or where are we going and heading with the development of this technology? So Valentina, can you start, and then we will go the round.
Yeah. I think that a few months ago, I listened to this seminar by Professor Björn Omer. He's one of the creators of Stable Diffusion. So he was asked very similar question. And then he said, basically, when I was creating Stable Diffusion, which I think the Davor also and Velebit is using, is we wanted to create a model which could run on a commodity GPU. So not that you need an entire farm of GPUs to run the model. And I think that you can always stack more layers, like make the model better in large capacity. But I think where there's a real research challenge that you democratize this, that it's not in the hands of the many, the hands of the few, rather in the hands of the many. So I think that that's one thing. And I think that there's going to be a lot of solution along these lines, how to make the models smaller, how to train them more efficiently, and stuff like that. And I also think that we are beyond language. So as seen, we're going to go for weather. We're going to probably see Sora, like video prediction. And I hope we're going to see embodied AI. But I'm also curious what you think, what will happen. I think, given the experience through the decades, what do you think, what is the next?
It's a really ungrateful questions. Now I got it. I think that we will see the change in the mindset how we are using technology. First of all, with the large context, it's a really game changer. And I remember when Davor, now I will steal your answer, in the last panel we discussed, now we have the opportunity to generate code with all the previous code that we had coded in the whole company, which was not the case 4 or 6 months ago. So this will be the game changer because the sensitivity of the context is going to be greater for the creation. Then from the very beginning, I'm really thinking that we will go into the better reasoning capabilities, but don't ask me how. We will see that. And this reasoning, symbolic reasoning, planning, which is returning the old AI back to the stage, I think it will go into this way. But we will see how the future will show. So do you have anything else to add?
I can only agree what Valentina said about democratization. It is already happening. 2 days ago, Microsoft announced AI PC. So if you look at the capabilities there, you can speak to computer, interact in real time. For example, you want to search some documents, you just name what you want to find. You don't have to literally search it by yourself. You just say and it gives it to you. Then last week, OpenAI announced a new version of ChatGPT, which is also a huge step towards personal assistant. I don't know if you looked at the videos, it is available on YouTube. You can use it in real time. You know, the agent can hear your response in real time, and it can also see things around you. So I'm amazed with the capabilities in this area.
So yeah, I will bring another perspective. What I'm thinking of is future open source, or is it closed systems? I guess it will be both. And I'm, of course, cheering for the open source to give smaller companies a chance to implement something. I guess big consumer markets will be taken over by such implementations from Microsoft, where they embed LLM in your computer, and there is no competition with that from the third party. But on the other hand, all the specialized use cases will be developed on the open source, which I see is developing very fast. So hundreds of models appearing monthly with more and more specialized use cases, and some are, here on the backbone from the, big models. Some are developed from the scratch, but definitely hundreds of companies developing models and systems around them that will bring us also, smaller companies, chance to be competitive with this new tech. So,
yeah. I actually like your answer. I think that the explainability and reasoning is the key to the wider adoption. So for instance, if a car stops in front of the intersection, or, I mean, it's a stupid example, but the people from the law enforcement, like, they want to understand why did it bring such a decision. And I think that this is actually explainability reasoning that's the key to the wider adoption. I mean, not by just us, we are the AI community, by especially for embodied AI for the society.
And maybe to add one more thing that's actually making things much faster is actually using models to annotate data. So all the development is now much faster because you can do entity recognition on text, on images, just like this now. And that was much more costlier and slower before. So use one model to actually enhance other models. That's the future.
We have seen a lot of this synthetic data generation in research, especially.
Yeah.
So,
we use it daily.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, yes.
So the next one is also reflection to our previous discussion. Beside the obvious one, what is prediction of what new jobs and roles in AI and computer science and in general in creative industry can we anticipate will emerge? For instance, I'm arguing that safety or security of applying AI is going to become a role which we don't have today. That's my opinion, but what do you think? Maybe something else? You don't have
I would say maybe something completely different. I mean, not in the AI industry, but in many other industries, processes will change completely in the creative part of it. So an architect 30 years ago had to have skill to do things with the hand. For the last 20 years, he doesn't have to have that skill and can be a famous architect. We now even cannot imagine the, I would say, co-creation with AI, what our skills will be needed to create, to be an architect in 20 years. It's hard to imagine now for us, but it will happen. We have to be aware that all these things will happen in each industry. And I would say especially wherever there is a creativity involved. Yeah. Because not that LLMs are creative, but they enable you to discover things and get to new ideas faster, and then you do your part of creativity. Yeah.
Would you like something to add?
No, I can agree with that also. Also example from last week's marketing club, the example from the agency. They were skeptics about using Gen AI until they were confronted with tight deadline to create some complex visual solution. And the end result, they said, okay, let's try it. In 2 hours, they created really good solutions. And they said it would take them 2 days if designer has to do this manually. So they did it in 2 hours, and most of the time they spend on writing the prompt. So.
Yeah. Now I will add some question which was not planned before. How do you feel about this sensitivity in writing prompts? For instance, we do have a prompt, and we just change the last sentence, and we can have the 2% difference in the end results. So it's really very sensitive. I have seen research reports on that. So what's your opinion? Where we should go with this prompt engineering? Because now it's more witchcraft, so to say, which is not a popular opinion, but it's not in exact science, engineering science as it is, but it's really prone to different wording and different verbalization of the task that system should provide. So do you have any ideas how you should tackle this in the future?
Yeah.
Yes, Davor, please.
I think, I mean, that's also going towards the search that is being changed in a way, the same. So probably the future will go in some kind of interaction with one part of a model where you will refine your thoughts, and then actually the model will help you write the prompt to actually put the question at the end. At this point, it's not completely that way, but if you use things like perplexity, I think that's the way future goes, because it helps you refine and actually surface out things you wouldn't think of at the first, and then gives you the possibilities to put the search at the end. So I guess something of that kind would go within LLMs also. Like you will talk with LLM to produce the best prompt for it at the end. That's just my idea. I'm not sure is it realistic, but we'll see.
And now the last question before we open the mic to the audience. What's your experience? How should business measure, keep KPIs, or assess the impact of generative AI on business? We have discussed that, and share your opinion, please.
It depends on the use case.
Yeah.
So when training every machine learning model, who do you want to beat? You want to beat human capability of doing some tasks so you can automate it and deploy it into production. So if it beats human, then it is good to go into production. But it depends on the use cases. For example, in our case, content generation. If you can optimize the cost that now you're having because you're doing business with marketing agencies, and one part of this job you can do internally, so obviously this is the KPI you should follow. Or because of content creation, which is personalizing the way you communicate with your customers, and in that way you're increasing conversion rates. That's how you generate some extra revenue for your company. So
I would go another way. I would never think about costs or even measuring. I would say get everyone to use it and see what happens, because the possibilities are much more numerous than you can even think of. And the gains can be much more higher if you don't put it within a business case each time. But that's my opinion. Just.
Thank you. Now, do we have any questions from the audience? Can somebody pass the mic to Tomislav?
Hi, I think this is a beautiful place to ask this question because you're very varied in your occupation. So for each of you, how safe is your job with AI coming?
It's not safe.
Yeah, mine neither. I think I could be replaced tomorrow, but I was asking like a more concrete, like how long do you feel before you can actually be replaced?
We will be changed. We will not be replaced.
I think about it like there will always be another problems to solve. Maybe
Yes.
it's not the same that we are solving now, but as engineers, I consider myself an engineer at the core. We are here to solve the problems. So I don't know, like 30 years ago, my father didn't have a computer and he was an engineer. And since he graduated college, he had to reinvent himself so many times to be able to be useful in the society. So I think that's where it's all of us. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So you're an engineer as a profession, but your job is tech lead. So how soon do you think an AI can take that job? Not your like whole identity professionally.
Yeah. Personally, I find it easier to talk to silicon chips than to people, especially when you have like cross-functional teams. So you have hardware, you have software, then you have sales and customer success. Like I think that it's witchcraft to like transfer the ideas between them and to make them all like aligned. So yeah, I believe that answers my question.
I would like to answer. The only solution that I see, I am teaching your future juniors. So what I'm trying to tell them, learn your basics, learn the concepts, because you are going to survive on that one for a longer time, and then try to surf the wave of the new technologies, and learn all the way, because the best thing that you can learn at the university is learning and learning. So that would be my answer, but it's not very popular, I know.
I would be happy to give my job to AI, to go to meetings all day long, to talk to people, to do politics instead of me. But no, jokes aside, it is a question raised by the great minds of our age. For example, Warren Buffett said, "We release genie from the bottle," and they're discussing universal personal income because of the potential impact, how many jobs will be vanished from the job market. So who knows? We'll see.
Any other question? So then, thank you all. Thank you very much. I think the discussion was really inspiring. And see you next time in some panel, very soon, I hope. And thank you very much for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before, before you leave the stage, Davor, here is your certificate of gratitude.